Beautiful people, today we are ranking the best midfielders in all of FC 25. There's more than 100 names. The energy is in the right place. Put your starters down below. Don't let me down. Back and forth comment section vibes immaculate. We got broken rank 1 foot champs debatable in the pine. Let us begin. Pele, the second coming. Not nearly as viable as he once was, but I'm not ready to take him out of weekend league contention. He's almost more of an attacker. We've got a few of those center attacking mid options that are going to be on the list. I believe. Well, I do still believe. She's also going to the weekend Bonmati. We got 2 variations. The 92 will go rank 1. Still with some of the quickest R1 technical dribbling on the block. Plus you got the finesse shot. The freebie with Tiki Taka though is still in a premium performance for foot champs. Alexander Arnold, I'm conflicted. He needs another upgrade. He's not fast enough to play as a fullback. I don't think that he's unique enough to play as a holding mid either. And at this point, I'm looking at him more rotating out. With all due respect. Pateas, we've gone with the SBC, but also if you want to include the track stars, we'll place them together. No doubt about it. Qualified, terrified, easy links, bring it together. I'm Robert. Pine, you're not using him. Endrich, I'll put him into the debate. He does have Anticipate Plus, and that's what's happening with some of the early stage midfielders and why we need constant videos updating you on some of the best players. We have an expectation of Playstyle Plus. If anything, I want multiple introductions. I'm seeing things happening with Evos and upgrades. There's not that many placements for the starting 11. Let's keep this a buck. Let's keep this a spade. Let's keep this a heart. Angelina, I know you did not complete the SBC. And for that reason, I'm going to throw her into the pine. Going to be middle of the road. Does not stand out. Baggio, full transparency. I have a bias, the skills, and the joy that I get with him on the virtual pitch. It might not be universal, but he's still weekend league for yours truly. Barella, great SBC, highly recommended. He's kind of cuspy, a bit of an in-between. I don't know if he's on the Bonmati and the Pateas level, but he could be making moves. This is still early. David Beckham, you're paying for the brand name. I mean that respectfully. Loved him on the actual pitch, but as it stands, he's good enough for the weekend. And as I'm looking at this, Barella just needs to join rank 1. It's been decided. Jude Bellingham, cover star, even at the 93, I'm not giving him an instant broken. Something has still been lacking. It's been missing. You're partially paying for the upgrade ability with the Champions League edition, and then the free item, 89 overall, is going to join Bonmati. You could not go wrong. And his 89 impacted the market tremendously with other midfielders. When we do these lists, they're not about price point, just about ability. And if you'd like some good deals for your office space, which is about price point, everything Elgato, from the microphone to the lights, to the way that I record my gameplay, to the teleprompter, that is linked down below. Rahimi, still clear for the weekend. I don't have a lot of complaints. One of the few players from the Globetrotter promo. And numero foot this far has been shaky at best. Hasn't really had that hype. Julian Brandt, I have this item and I was internalizing. At what rating does he become usable? He's got some play styles. He doesn't have the right body type. I'm tossing him into a friendly debatable. A little nudge. Bernardo Silva, if you have a role for him, that dribbling is so darn authentic. Extra movement, mobility. Bruno Fernandes, I still feel is a little overrated or maybe overpriced, but this upgrade definitely put him into motion and into rotationals. GG Buffon. We didn't see the center mid coming. Here he is. Not going to cost you an arm or a leg. Also not coming with all the play styles and the overall collection. If you're looking for Infinity Stones, this is not your Thanos. But I am happy to not only use Buffon in goal, of course, a new icon. And in theory, when we're analyzing the highest rated and best midfielders, you would hope that all of them came in at least the weekend league. Clearly, that's not the case, but that is the expectation. Camavinga, the Frenchman, and we've had rapport. This upgrade, 5-star skills, and the left stick dribbling and the turning. We got our first contender for broken tiers or broken categories. I wonder if his price will fluctuate in a more positive manner. He's not necessarily going to cost you everything that you have, but I could see with the market and the different upgrades and introductions if he even gets more affordable or the price has a significant drop off. El Capitan, Carlos Alberto, and I would still prefer him as a center back or a fullback, but I don't see a scenario where you take him from being in that that broken conversation or that narrative. These new icons get busy. He does have the versatility. He's not going to score you a bunch of goals. That's the reality. Carlos Puyol, I'm not proud about this, but if you're using him, good on you. I understand from a passion project and appreciation, the man played for the badge. He played with his heart. He had true passion, but virtually, I just don't see it. And I'm not intimidated going up against it. Same with Casemiro. He had a moment, but a little too dated. Bobby Charlton, that's going to be a broken if you need more of an attacking player. But of course, he's a natural cam. He needed to be here. We've done just that, and he can provide. Shall we go French? Still good enough for the weekend. And Leon, we made a video on the football records. If you'd like to check that out, our second channel, Football Storytelling. It has been an uphill battle, to say it nicely, the last few seasons, especially if you're comparing and contrasting to the 2000s, where they were leading the way for French football, well before the influx of money at PSG. Kevin De Bruyne, what you can do with the 93, of course, he's got the pace, but the passing is nice. The importance of finding that space, he just makes the game easy for you. Even the 91, which I also included, would go rank 1. If you have the extra budget, the 93 is most definitely better. Frankie, let's discuss the 99 passing with those play styles, bigger upgrade on the shooting. He's going broken, and you're almost paying 2-to-1 on the pricing. And then his second version, just to make sure that we have a separation, was a little more defensive oriented with play styles, but they gave him slide tackle, which is kind of a throwaway. I don't want to disrespect, but it's never first, second, or third ballot. It's not the highest of priority. We'll throw him into rank 1. Desai, and this could be a hot take, he's great as a center back, but as a holding midfielder, I do not get on well at all. Yes, he can break up plays, but he's not a facilitator. He's a poor dribbler. He can't score goals. He doesn't have skill moves. Super clunky. He ends up being a liability to the point that I see him as a pine center mid. Douglas Luiz, you could still run him for the weekend. Wouldn't be my first choice. Most of you have better players, but you're not getting a bad return of value if you choose to use them, if he fits into the links. Brazilian route, you're going Serie A, or you've got the links that you're putting together. Crystal Dunn, I liked her early on. It's just too late in the cycle. Fabio, even with all the ratings, I don't really see him used much. Even at an 89, is he doing enough? Foudy, smooth for the weekend, sort of underrated. Give the Americans some PT. Let me know what you think. Gattuso, and I don't know if EA, unless they make a drastic change, is going to give him an opportunity to actually compete. Stevie G, and he might just barely make foot champs. I had this item on loan for maybe 20 games. Power Shot Plus is nice to give you some distance operations. I guess that made it sound as if we're going to the military and he's a sniper. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I'm okay with the weekend. Gavi as well, not a bad SBC to complete. Smooth for the weekend. I'm not necessarily giving a nod beyond that. Grace, again, sort of dated. Guendouzi, would recommend the SBC. Gonna either be in foot champs or debatable. I don't know how many of you he's gonna take actual minutes from other players on your team or even the links that you need. He's got 2 versions. I'll just put them both into foot champs. Gundogan, you could use them for the weekend, but you won't. And I'm just gonna put them into the debatable off rip because of that. Gravenberch, we're going Dutch. Put him into rank 1, good body type, a lot of stats in the right places. We've seen plenty of different Evo permutations and possibilities. He's always popular, and for a good reason. Goretzka, and EA kind of fixed his dribbling, which has always been an issue. I've been sort of on record, at least on the virtual side of things, being a Goretzka hater. This item's starting to trend a little more upward. We like that. Ruud Gullit, another long hair bonus structure. Don't need to go into great detail. There's only one place for him to be. And in most cases, you try to avoid him. I don't want to go 50-50 here. I don't want to deal with these types of matchups. He gallops through the midfield, and he has a physical presence and aura, and he's a gladiator. He's a warrior. If they make a third movie, call up Ruud Gullit present day. Goody, I wouldn't sleep on him. I've enjoyed his upgrades. I've enjoyed this hero across the board. Haji, it hurts my heart. I'm going to go debatable. I've been a huge supporter, and I have this item. You could use them, but as someone who's giving you a review, is that really the mentality you want to attach? You're looking for players that are almost breaking the game. They're giving you these moments of extracurricular. Haji has fallen a little bit behind the curve. Hamsik early on, he might have lagged a little, but I'm still leaning on a rank 1. Something about his passing, even with players catching up, he still feels unique, all things considered. He's a difference maker. Lindsey Horan, I'm going to take my American bias and put it in the debatable, but Trailblazers are just getting pushed out. Iwobi with the rush item, similar situation. Jansen, I wouldn't want to use her as a center back or a fullback or a holding mid, and for that reason, we're going to the Pine. Jolington can get into foot champs. Kaká, serious business. Very happy with putting him into motion, and I'm tempted to even give him a little nudge to broken. We might make an additional tier just to give us final degree of separation. That's how we get down with the get down. If you're new to these videos, there will be a review at the end, and I can almost guarantee at least one tier and quite a few movements between some of the players and the personnel. Conte screaming at me, rank 1, give him a team of the year. I want the nostalgic vibes. Keane falls into the same situational or issue of a Gattuso, even a Carlos Puyol. Unless something drastically changes, I don't know how you can use these individuals, because EA is putting out so many items and upgrades that they don't get a chance to have their moment. This hasn't been her year. I've made arguments or cases previously. Kimmich, smooth for the weekend. I don't see him used much throughout the weekend league. That might tell the story. Philip Lahm, more of a fullback than a holding mid, but he can play as a holding mid, and I'll give him a debatable. I know some of you love him. Maybe not in that position, but just in general. And a player that has overly exceeded any of my expectations. I still can't believe it. Trickster Laudrup. At least the weekend league, I'd love to have him in rank 1. I don't know what's fair for the macro, but I was using him yesterday. We played 10 games, 10 wins. He played as a cam. I've played him out wide, division rivals and qualifier matchups. We won everything, and he still had the juice. Frankie Lampard, debatable. That was an SBC that did not increase his stock. Litmanen, that's going to be a no. Lo Celso, no thank you. Loftus-Cheek's kind of been downgraded, even with all the 80s. He doesn't have the play styles. We thought that that was going to become a higher rated item, and as time's gone on, it feels as if EA has actually reduced his position within the curvature. I don't know. I don't make the rules. These are my experiences and observations. Lookman with the 99 dribbling. Yep. Put that into flow. Madison, finesse shot, and now with a weak foot. He's such a specialist that I almost lean on him being debatable. Tottenham fans will probably disagree. Speaking of, Tottenham could get a trophy before Kane gets a trophy. Majri, and I've always been a fan. With that said, I'm still putting her in the debatable, cheapish SBC, but for the majority, I don't think you're putting her into a squad. Makaleli is excellent at what he does. If you need a holding mid, Conte-esque player, bunch of play styles. He's got that jockey, his movement, OD in the middies. I'm tempted to put him into rank 1, but I prefer the 89 Conte. Marquisio from earlier this year, I'll give him a debatable, but times have been changing. Even Llorente, that 86 doesn't move the same way. Even if you evote him, I'm not that big a believer. I have been using him a ton, and he's just not holding up how he was. Mane gets you into the weekend. Almost more of an attacker again, but does have that cam positional, so it lines up for the video. Marta, absolute influence, legend, and I look forward to having an icon item, but this version is going to the Pine. Mascherano, I'll go ahead and give him a debatable. I know some of you are going to claim that he is too official, but he's not making it in my teams the holding mid or a center back. And the reason being is that I have other players that are better. They're more dynamic, they're more complete, they have a better body type, they fit into the system, there's better synergy. I could go on and on. Lothar, absolute problem in the midfield, or he could be the answer. If you have any concerns, he will clean up the middies, no doubt. Blaze, Matuidi, and the irony, he was never this good in any previous FIFA installment, but once he went heroic, those upgrades meant something. Miyama, new icon. I always had some struggles with truly integrating her. Modric, I can't take you to the Pine. I refuse to do it. Musiala, this SBC is no longer available. You would have to go for Inform. He's so clean with the skills and the R1 dribbling. I'm getting him into the weekend. Odegaard's passing. Don't sleep on it. Now with a weak foot that can move. He's got the 5-star skills. I find him to be a bit of a specialist. He plays in one role, and he's going to do that type of role at an extremely high level. If you play him anywhere else other than this kind of number 10-esque or this connector or performer or orchestrator, musician, he has to be used in that manner. Muhammad couldn't get down with it. Oberdorf, I don't think there's a reason to even put these players really in a debatable position. It's not happening. JJ, he is nice. Details, all about the subtle details. Give that man the skills, and he will pay the bills. We're going rank 1. Oscar, happy to have the Brazilian back into some squads. Palacios, I think people are a little more hopeful. I found him to be average-ish, but that's just me. Cole Palmer, and it's getting cold, chilly. What a season he's been on. Scoring for fun. Wouldn't quite fight for a position in broken, but I'm happy to certify him for rank 1. Patry Guiaro, I'm still giving her rank 1. You know, top quality SBC, and we're gonna need some categories. But her passing and your reliability, again, part of the Barcelona group, that's been unstoppable. Parejo surprised me enough to go debatable. I used him as a center back more than a holding mid, but he's qualified in both roles. Petit, the 70s just can't be cutting it. No chance. Robert Pires, another SBC that I would complete, and I lean him all the way into rank 1. These new SBCs with winter wildcards, tons of value, tons of performance, not a lot of complaints. Best promo of the year. Pirlo, the man that finessed the 5-star skills. He needs an updated item. That's the reality. I'm not happy about this. He's a maestro in this deep playmaking role. He is that role. But there are so many players now that have been upgraded that fit the game better. Even Ramirez, who early doors, crushing souls, taking names. The guy was a spirit in the midfield. Now he's more weekend league certifiable, but I don't think you can push too far beyond that. Good enough, but not a standout, not a prime time. Not elite levels. James Rodriguez, we're back into action. A couple little 5-star, a lot of curvature, trajectory, top corner, finesses, all of that. Easy on the eyes. Jill Roard. I just don't think she can replace what you already have. But I'm not mad about her stats, her performances, her ability. If she played for Barcelona, I think she'd get talked about a lot more. We going Dutch, boy! Flavor Flav. We'll take him into the weekend. Renard, there's no reason to do this as a holding mid. She kind of falls into that category where I talk about Desai. Where are the skills? Where's the expression? Do you have the goal scoring capability or the passing or the dribbling? No! Traditional as it comes to center back. Declan Rice. What a signing for Arsenal. He's lived up to it. And he's a classic holding mid, but he still deserves to be in rank 1. He got the double play style. His positioning, phenomenal. You couldn't ask for someone who follows the rules or the guidelines better. And he's got a big body type. That would be my only disclaimer. Is he going to be a goal scoring or creative threat? No. But you're not making this purchase with that as part of your expectation. Frank Rijkaard, who I'd like to see an upgrade. Give this man a new icon item. He's got to be more debatable now. You can't be pressing the best of the best in a highly competitive position that's not that expensive in the 70s. Raquelme, I tried to make it work once he has Trickster. I'm still happy about this item. It gave us hope, but debatable at best. Rodri, I've got him still hanging on to rank 1. Of course, Ballon d'Or winner. You'd be surprised by his passing. Doesn't have the gold tiki-taka, but still even having the initial play style helps so much with ground passing, and he's gonna be rank 1. Rolfo would recommend finally an upgrade with a player that I've wanted to put into motion. Rui Costa has not made it out of the debate. Rudder is too dated at this point, but shout out to Rudder. He did a wonderful job. Sawa, you could take either of her versions, and they'd both go to the same place. Broken and only broken. Paul Scholes, I'm not sure he deserves a debatable. I'd like to see it. It's an upgrade for him, but it's not big enough to get him into the grand scheme. Schweinsteiger for the weekend is fine. Socrates, you need the 90. And you might ask, why is the 90 not included? The SBC, the upgraded version, and a big upgrade at that. That man is monumental. It's because he can only play as a striker. No other positions. So you won't get chemistry in any of the midfielder roles. Therefore, I couldn't incorporate him into this video. Xavi Simons, I like him a lot. First instinct says rank 1. Chouameni, more debatable now. I think you'd struggle throughout a weekend league, respectfully. I've been on board with him. Plenty of superlatives throughout the year. Just the players got to playering. They caught up. Tillman, maybe some light fraudulent stats. I'm just going to glaze over that quickly. Tonali's still ready to roll out. Go rank 1. Yaya Toure, only one place that he could be. Take him to the top. Same with Valverde. What an item. He has to be broken. Anytime I go up against him, he just dominates the midfield. Like I said, we'll have some separation. I can already foresee a couple new categories. Don't you go anywhere. Vitinha. My first instinct says foot champs because he's a unique player. We saw him in action last year, stirring, shaking things up. Earthquakes with Vitinha. This version, big upgrade, first major move. He's still 5'7" and a bit of a in-betweener in terms of his best positions. But he does have ping pass and technical for the double play style plus, which you love to see. But I still feel he's more weekend league certifiable as opposed to pushing beyond that. Varane has not been it. Patrick Vieira, still doing Vieira things. To this day, Vieira is exactly what you would expect him to be. Williams, I never see in rotations. She can still go debatable. We'll be nice with it. Florian Wirtz, we'll get him into rank 1. Just barely, though. He's a little more cuspy. Xavi Alonso's cool for the weekend. Kind of underrated. It was a fun SBC. Xavi, wow. The passing. Not going to let you down. Not today, not tomorrow, and not next week. Emery, he's gotten dated. He's done a lot for the club. I got to put him at least debatable. And then Zé Roberto completed him. Love him. What a versatile individual. Zico, now with an upgrade, which takes us into broken. And last but not least, we have Zinedine Zidane, who has to be broken. And I need more tiers, and we're going to review. If you've been following the channel, this won't be new information. We've added 2 additional tiers, extra broken and top 5. It will all come together naturally. And if you are brand spanking new, it is free to subscribe. Off rip, I know Ruud Gullit will find himself in the top 5. Lothar is going up immediately. Vieira is going up immediately. You like to think Zinedine is a lock for a top 5 placement. I'm just making sure that we gradually do this, and we do it right. Most of our broken, I feel, could be an extra broken if we're just keeping this a buck. Kevin De Bruyne is going. De Jong going. I'm not going to move both Sawas. End of the day, they're relatively similar. It's just a play style swap up. We'll take the incisive with relentless. Zico's going to move. Wow. What a grouping. We actually might not have much movement throughout this review. If anything, I'm just going to focus on dedicating this top 5 extra broken and broken. I'd love to see Bonmati or Pateas move just for the longevity they've provided. And they might deserve that if we're just keeping this off GP. Zinedine with the double 5-star is going to join Ruud Gullit. Not necessarily a surprise. Zico is quite the human being. Has to be there. Vieira, I can't get past. I don't want to make it all iconic, but it might just end up that way. I'm taking De Jong up, which also allows me just to put the Salwas next to each other. Yaya's kind of a lock in the midfield. Carlos Alberto, I'd still stand by. I'd rather have him as a center back or a fullback. I'm impressed by that Camavinga. Bobby has to move, which does give us a little more room if we want to make something pop. I believe Bonmati and Pateas deserve it. We could take the 91 Kevin De Bruyne up. We can also take the 91 De Jong into this category of a little more room to work with. I'd like to see Kaká and what he's accomplished. As good as Xavi's been, I don't know if he's going to quite reach the broken tier. Patrick's had a lot of influence. Palmer's been active, but I like this. That's going to round out the top 5 in our upper tier categories. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you put your midfield down below, I will rate it. I look forward to seeing the formations and the teams that you have put together this year. Maybe even some stat lines. And we'll have a lot more content coming out ASAP.